Okay, let's try this again.
Please, ghosts, don't shut the computer off again.
Don't let the computer turn down.
You know it's
on
fucked when the
us.
beach balls.
Yeah, the beach ball was frozen.
Man, I've never seen that happen before.
We started recording and it stopped at about 30 seconds. And then the beach ball started going. If you have a Mac, you know what I'm talking about. And then it froze, like the beach ball froze. So we just had to turn everything off and start again.
We were having a discussion about like clowns and then haunted dolls and that Annabelle was a bad movie.
Right.
And then we covered a lot of topics in a short period of time. And one of them must have pissed off something.
I think we were talking about it at the beginning because we just kept talking and didn't realize it had stopped.
Right.
But we're still going now.
Yeah. So wish us luck, everyone.
Yay.
If you're hearing it, we made it.
We did it.
It's Ghostacles time.
It's Ghostacles time.
27?
27, yes.
Oh my God. Where does the time go?
Day by day, down the shitter.
Like sands in the hourglass.
So are the days of our haunted lives.
Haunted lives.
So who's first?
I can go first.
Okay.
All right. This is from our old pal Carissa. Carissa, who has an inimitable writing style.
That's right. Carissa with the clouder.
With the clouder, yeah. Carissa
clouder.
taught us the word clouder, which means like a group of cats. A clouder.
And Carissa's the one that went on the road that was never there.
Yeah, the road that was like the road that was not. Greetings once again, Michael and Jamie. I hope this correspondence. I'm just going to read it like this. I'm going to read it like Ted Knight. I hope this correspondence finds you well, and I hope that Michael has been able to rest despite the pitter patter of petite puppy paws.
To be fair, last weekend I had the puppy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and he's finally able to sleep through the night without having to go out. So that's a huge thing. And now I'm more tired because I think my body acclimated to having to get up in the middle of the night, and so I just adjusted. And now that my body remembers what sleep it's like, just stay in bed, don't get up.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could bring some unique feline vocabulary to Ghostacles 22, even if my particular choice of language betrayed the truth that I am not, in fact, Michael's nom de plume. Still think I wrote this and I just forgot. Thank you again for your compliments.
You are a Gemini.
That's true. I am truly humbled regarding the delightful symmetries in our storytelling. All I can say is this: if I couldn't craft a haunting narrative tailored to Michael's distinctive elocution, what kind of writer would I be? I love you, Carissa, but groan. I'm going to hear that. It's a Black Butler thing. I do. Yeah. I'm going to hear that I'm going to get a fan that's going to be my hospice nurse when I'm in my hundreds.
I like that.
And I'm still going to be. I'm being very positive about it.
That's right.
And they're going to be like, well, if I couldn't change your colostomy bag, what kind of hospice nurse would I be? And I'm going to be like, oh, God damn it! Still, the show's 70 fucking years old. Anyway. Nice try. Anyway, having seen the episode title, but unable to listen for a few days, I was very excited for episode 42 and Jamie's sharing a few pages from the extensive catalog of Archer Avenue haunts. As it happens, my office is just a few minutes northwest of Sag Bridge. However, given you are both taking a much-deserved break before picking up Resurrection Mary, I will refrain from commenting on the Erie Avenue until next week, or until next time. This week, Ash and I have another tale from near our home in the Chicago suburbs. As neither of us will ever pass up a bargain, we routinely find ourselves shopping at the local Everything is $1 store.
Yeah. Everything is $1. I like it.
Yeah, that's relatable. Recently, while at the checkout counter, Ash had an interesting experience that led me down a rabbit hole of county databases and historic newspaper archives. Ooh, I like those kind of experiences. That afternoon, 3 staff were running the store. The cashier was a gentleman of around our age, while the 2 staff performing stocking and maintenance duties were high school or college kids in their late teens or early 20s. One of the younger staff suddenly approached the cashier out of breath and declared, "I am not going back there again." Ash, intrigued, gave the cashier a curious look. The cashier remarked matter-of-factly, "Our stockroom is haunted."
Oh, really?
Of course, being fans of the paranormal, Ash's first instinct was to find out all the details and tell me about it as soon as they returned home. According to the staff, it is a common occurrence for entire shelves or pallets of backstock, otherwise stored appropriately in a quiet, unremarkable storeroom, to suddenly and violently fall to the floor. Some days, as when Ash was shopping, this will happen while someone is in the back room working alone, sending them running out into the store with quite a fright. According to the current employees, the property was rumored to have been a funeral home in the past, and they believed this was the source of their haunt. For modern paranormal nerds like myself, the migration to digital archiving, both for public government records and for printed newspapers, is a treasure trove. Turning the page of juicy details, just waiting for the right keyword search. As luck would have it, the last 70 years of property records in our county have been digitized and are fully searchable. With perhaps an hour of searching, I had a timeline developed for the history of the dollar store property, complete with a list of owners, buyers, sellers, investors, and mortgagors. Mortgagors. It's a hard word to say for me. In addition, I had records of the village board passing a resolution to merge 4 parcels into one and modify zoning requirements to fit a particular structure on the property. You and my mom would get along so well, Carissa.
The research is amazing.
Alone, like my mom's always like, but did you cross-reference this? My mother, I could hear my mother hearing the story like, oh, but did they look at this? Because my mother always knows 500 other ways that a research thing can be done.
Can we get her to do our research for
I
us?
bet we could.
Just outsource it to Carissa and your mom.
She's too easily freaked out by all this stuff, though. She'd hate it. Maybe she'd love it. Who knows? What I didn't
Brandon ask her. Sorry.
You know what? She'd do it if Brandon asked. Yeah. Brandon's the mom whisperer. I swear to God, my mother can be like, blah, something, and all of us who've known her for years can be like, what? And Brandon will be like, she means this. And she'll be like, that's exactly what I mean. I'm like, how the fuck can you do that? He's like, I don't know. What I didn't have, Carissa continues, however, was any sign of a funeral home. The property was originally zoned for 4 houses, though it appears only 2 structures were ever built there. As far as I could determine, the property had been a retail establishment for most of the last 50 years. In the 1960s, a local grocery store owner purchased the adjacent parcels and merged them together to provide enough space for a new supermarket and parking lot. Later, the grocery store moved to a larger property further up the street, and the old market became an auto parts store for a number of years. In the 1980s, it was renovated into a major chain pharmacy and remained with that company for around 20 years. The pharmacy eventually relocated to a brand new facility, and the empty building sat unused for much of the Great Recession until the dollar store moved in. Finding no evidence that would point to a haunted history, I moved on to searching the extensive Chicago Tribune newspaper archives.
I love the dedication to this.
Really, maybe we should hire you, Carissa.
I know.
There, I was able to determine the history of the property back to the 1920s just by searching for the addresses associated with the structures that existed prior to the market. 1 single-family home and an adjacent commercial facility, both owned by the same family. By tracking down old advertisements, I discovered that the commercial property was actually one of the first automobile service stations in the area. The family lived next door and operated the gas station for several decades. Later, they sold the adjacent commercial building, which was renovated into offices and served as headquarters for a real estate agency up through the 1950s. Eventually, the real estate agency moved out, the family next door moved out, and the grocer bought the properties to build his new market. Still, I found no signs of an occupancy that one might associate with the paranormal. Searching the Tribune archives for the street addresses of the long-gone gas station, I finally found something intriguing. In the intervening years, while the property was unoccupied but being renovated to build the market, a tragic death occurred there. According to the police and several witnesses, an 8-year-old girl was riding her bicycle on the sidewalk when she suddenly darted into the street and struck the side of a northbound dump truck. Despite rescue efforts, she was unable to be revived and passed away at the scene. Could the little girl's ghost be the one responsible for the dollar store haunting?
Yes.
And tumbling backstock? There's no way to know for sure, of course, but hers, turning the page, was the only death we could find having taken place at that address, and something there continues to frighten the employees. Often, when digging into local legend about a haunted location, the story starts with exaggerated tales of a gruesome death, but eventually ends with a far more mundane truth than what was imagined. This time, I started with a rather unassuming tale in a seemingly unlikely place, and found the truth to be a horrible tragedy. Go, Carissa!
I know! I know! Awesome. Isn't that amazing?
Ooh, I love it.
Love that. Too, the funeral home thing is a common kind of trouble. It used to be a funeral home, but in my mind, I'm like, but what? It's like a cemetery. Why would you haunt that? Because it's not like you're living there ever.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can see the sense of it. Like maybe if people don't quite leave their bodies right away, and they have to, or they can't bring themselves to leave their bodies behind, and so maybe. I mean, imagine this is. I'm going to get real dark for a second. I mean, I know.
Do it.
But let's imagine that you're like, you can't let your body go, so you're kind of stuck with it, or at least being near it, and you're like watching it go through the funeral preparation process.
Yeah,
that would be traumatic enough, I think, to like it kind of trap some energy there, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but then I think more likely is the energy there might.
Yeah,
do that because it's a sad energy. It's a mournful energy, and it depends. You know, some funeral homes will, do the viewing, and then maybe they'll have the service there as well. So perhaps that energy.
Yeah,
or
there's a lot of sadness there and a lot of finality, and just generally people are uncomfortable with funeral homes, so they're it's kind of psychologically shunned by the rest of, like, you don't want to go to it's like a hospital.
Like the morgue.
No one wants to go to the morgue or the hospital or a funeral home,
because if you're in the morgue, one of those things is going to open. It's just going to happen anytime there's any scene in any morgue. Along the lines of, like, if you're in a morgue, odds are you're there for really awful reasons, right? But also, if you're just in one, if you just happen to have taken a wrong turn on the way to the bathroom, and you find yourself in the morgue, and you go, "Oh, that's not a bathroom. One of those is going to open. Shelf of bodies. One of those little drawers in the refrigerated section is going to go pop and then roll out." Mm-hmm. And you still have to go to the bathroom. And right then, you will. It is a bathroom solved. Now. Problem solved. God. What's your story? Okay. Mine is from Mariah. I believe it's Mariah. It's either that or it's Mary. But I think it's Mariah. Hey, Michael and Jamie. Hey. High five. You spelled both of our names correctly. I do apologies for my bad grammar. I almost fixed it, but it's funnier this way. I do apologies. Apologize accepted. Listen to the whole thing. I do apologies for my bad grammar, for I'm writing this at 3 a.m. while listening to the recent episode as well. I just love it. I do apologies. I do apologies. All apologies. Forgive the incontinence. You are forgiven. I don't know if this story is going to fit your topic, but I thought I would give it a shot. And if my story gets read on air, it's a plus for me. LOL. Anyway, I'm a college student at Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Ooh. It's an easy way to my heart, is to send me something from Oklahoma. Yay, Tahlequah. True fact. Also, the lists from David Letterman, his top 10 list, was from Tahlequah for quite a while. Oh. Little random fact. I didn't know that. That matters not. I know this. It matters. It matters to Tahlequah, damn it. And I think that Kristen Chenoweth went there. I feel like I could be wrong. Let's just say yes. Sure, why can't it be true? Yeah, it's true in this moment. In our movie. In this universe. If you thought that forests and graveyards at night were fucked up, wait until you step into the haunted halls of Seminary Hall, where most of the English classes are and the writing lab is. To give you a little history of my story, so Seminary Hall was first a school for Cherokee girls, and the principal, Florence Wilson, was waiting for her soon-to-be husband who was at war. He never showed up to the wedding, and to this day, she haunts the halls, still waiting for her love to come back. Here's an article. She then says, here's an article on the details of other eyewitnesses for you two to read later on your own. And then she left a link for an article written for the Tahlequah Daily Press by Renee Feit called NSU's Seminary Hall Lays Claim to Haunted History. Mm. Then she continues. Here is my account with Principal Florence Wilson. My freshman year, I was doing an assignment to the very last minute, and I had to walk the halls of Seminary Hall, which I was reluctant to go in the building by myself, but being the procrastinator that I was and still am today, to get this assignment done, and yes, I had to do the assignment at night, I had to go down the halls to the writing lab, and I started to hear voices of girls talking to each other while walking to the lab. I thought that I was hearing things in my head, so I blew it off. Once I was done with my assignment, I started to hear footsteps from the second floor as if somebody was playing ball where some of the classrooms are, and then I ran out of the building. I was freaked the fuck out, and to this day, I don't go inside the building anymore. Hope this fits your 2 standards of creepiness, and love you both and my hero, and I can't wait for season 4 in October.
Nice.
Thank you, Mariah. So,
like, hashtag fuck a hall. It's like, is there anywhere left we can't go? That we can go, rather?
Is there anywhere left we can't fuck? So, I took it upon myself to check out the link and make a little list of some of the other things that have been reported in the hall. Here are a few of the highlights from the story.
Yes.
5 famous Native American artists known as the Kiowa Five painted murals on the entry wall and upstairs. It is said that the first night, 2 of the men decided to paint after dark while it was quiet. As the story goes, they heard footsteps running down the hall and little girls giggling, but saw no one. They went to see who was making the sounds, and when they returned, their paintbrushes were missing, and later found down the hall. They told the dean they would not paint at night anymore.
Nope. Bye.
Number 2. In the writing center, which we just heard about.
Right.
Which had been the chapel. Lights are known to come on unexpectedly at 8 p.m. and other times won't come on. A little girl has been heard singing hymns. Computers have been known to shut off or come on without visible assistance. Number 3. Graduate students, being the last to leave for the day, have seen from the outside a light left on inside by mistake. When they get to their car and see it, it would turn off, even though no one else was in the building.
Man, it's not fair for colleges to be so scary.
I know.
Student debt's already horrifying.
Right. Ooh. Give them something scary now, then it won't be that scary when they get out.
Yeah, the ghosts are trying to like trust us. Like the ghosts are. That's why they haunt the college, is because they still have to pay off their debt. They're like, sorry, you can't move on to the light until you've paid off.
If you don't pay it off in life, you're gonna have to haunt them. It's just what happens. Number 4. It is on the top floor where some people say that, without a doubt, they have seen the most activities. Doors close on their own or open. The most mysterious and most photographed and videotaped are the orbs. Lights about the size of tennis balls floating and moving up and down the hallway. Those who can see the orbs say there are 10 to 20 balls of light, and a few of the orbs have followed some people in the tour crowd.
Ooh.
Number 6. Graduate students with offices on the 3rd floor. I don't know if that's the top floor or not, because it's also considered the most haunted floor, so I don't know. Again, I just read the article and doing more research on it. But they're
all competing to be the top.
I know. Everybody's floor is equally haunted. So graduate students will rarely work after dark because they hear noises like little girls singing and giggling. They regularly hear footsteps running down the hall, and underneath the doors of locked, empty offices, you can see lights being turned on and off. Number 7.
I love it. Why do little girl ghosts always sing? It's funny because whenever true fact, if I'm ever watching one of the many fine ghost clip compilations we'll watch together, and if like there's a child ghost supposed to be somewhere, and I hear someone going like whatever, I'm like, that ain't fucking real.
Right.
A child hasn't sung that song in like 200 years.
Yeah. Right, I'm
like, that's a horror movie bullshit. That's a cliche.
It's very cliche.
If I were to hear like a ghost girl singing like the Cow's Mom's a Bitch song from South Park, then I'd be like, that's fucking real.
That's true.
Just when do ghosts update their Spotify? That's all I'm saying. When do they update their taste in music?
I don't know. And it's weird because you think like more modern ghosts. Are they gonna like rap at you?
Yeah, that's at some fun. Point they're gonna like, they're gonna hear Eminem.
Yeah.
Songs. That's, but if you're hearing Ring Around the Rosie, I'm like, do kids still sing that?
Yeah,
I don't think like the kids still sing that.
And if I was in Europe, I think I would be like, oh shit, they're singing Ring Around the Rosie.
Right.
That just because of historically it seems more accurate.
Yeah. Well, that child, probably did live there 300 years ago.
Right.
But I don't think any child lived here 300 years ago that spoke English.
That sang Ring Around the Rosie at the very least.
Yeah. So it's like, so whenever I hear that, it always makes me think of like, oh, someone's making a ghost clip and they think this is scary.
Right.
That's me. Yeah. So just to any of you child ghosts out there, just update your songs. We can, if I can't Shazam it. I don't believe you're a ghost.
What is this song?
I can't Shazam it, or if it's a nursery rhyme, I know damn good and well no child has sung in 100 years.
Yeah.
But this haunted building's only been here for like 50. It's not on the math, doesn't work out.
I'll accept a Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah, because that's everyone does that. Or Mary Had a Little Lamb. But like Ring Around the Rosie, or like hymns, like really old hymns. You're like,
right.
No, child.
Unless it's like Amazing Grace, I'll accept Amazing Grace.
Yeah, but like if I hear a child, like if I hear the sound of a child's voice singing the Old Rugged Cross, I feel like.
But what if they're trying to sound like they have a deep voice?
That fucked with me.
I know. He tried not to spit his water all over me.
I had to take a moment to swallow.
It was disgusting.
Sorry. You deserve that,
but it's
though,
better
because
than you
freaked me out.
spitting in my face.
Yeah, well, yes, that's true.
Oh, carry the old rugged cross.
We used to sing "Happy Birthday" to people to the tune of the Old Rugged Cross.
Oh, nice.
Which makes it really creepy.
I love it. Okay, last but not least, Florence Wilson, the principal from the 1800s who's rumored to haunt the building.
Because her man never came. That's
came.
Sexist.
It seems as though he was not at war, because according to this article, history indicates her fiancé, Pleasant Cannon.
Pleasant Cannon?
I guess that was his name.
Hey, that's a pretty good Tinder
quite the
handle.
name. I know, right?
It's a Pleasant Cannon.
He's... Apparently it was.
It's what a weird. What?
I know. That's what it says.
No, I believe it. It's just one of those names that I'm like, what? Pleasant Cannon?
Yeah.
What is it? Was there some tradition in their family that the mom just had to like name the child after whatever the fuck she saw right after giving birth? First thing you see, your name is gonna be Boston Print.
Maybe it was that he's like her 14th kid, and so by then they were like, "How was it?" It's pleasant. It was pleasant.
Is that a biblical name? Yeah, sure. Pleasant is.
Sure it is. And then the husband's like, "Our last name's Cannon. We're definitely naming it Pleasant."
Pleasant Cannon.
Yeah.
You know he got picked on in school for that name.
Well, either way, history indicates he was shot while stealing horses and died. And that is why he never returned.
Not so pleasant.
To his principal fiancé. Now
I still think it's sexist that she can't move on because of something he did.
Well, we don't know that he can't move on. Or he's moved on.
Well, he's not the one that's haunting it. She is.
He's not haunting that hall, but why would he?
That's true. Maybe he's haunting
a funeral home somewhere. Or a cemetery.
Somewhere. And he's like, it's the ghost of Pleasant Cannon. And he's like, I can't. Please don't tell them that's my name. Because there's no ghost can be scary with that name.
Or he has no idea it's ridiculous. And
he's like, why are people laughing?
Right. So,
I am being scary right now.
Totally do a Ouija board. And they'll be like, who is it? Plea. And they're like, Pleasant Cannon. That's
like,
who's fucking coming
Cheryl,
up with words.
Let go of the fucking planchette.
Who did that? Pleasant Cannon. That's not a real. That's a
Pleasant
thing.
Cannon?
And there's not a Pleasant Cannon. Cannons aren't pleasant.
Is it 2 ends or 1?
It's 2 ends.
2 ends?
According to what I read.
Yeah, then that's a cannon. That's like explodey cannon.
Yeah.
A pleasant cannon.
It's pleasant.
That's a pleasant cannon. It still sounds like a reference to his penis.
It does.
He has a very pleasant cannon. Mm-hmm. But I don't think a guy wants to be told that his cannon's pleasant.
You think there's a nickname for pleasant?
You mean like it's a euphemism for like not pleasant? Like unpleasant cannon?
No, I meant... Did you think that there's like an actual nickname for him? Like what's short for pleasant?
Please. That's his name. They call him the Please Can.
Please can.
Please can.
Don't steal those horses. And then he did, and now he's dead.
Well, the name like Pleasant Cannon, I'm just saying his parents were setting him up for a life of crime because he had something to prove with that name.
He did have something to prove.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not a Pleasant Cannon.
You know he was stealing a very large horse. They had to compensate then too. We're sorry, Pleasant.
And I'm sorry, Florence, that you had to stick around because of his shit.
Yeah, if that's why if that's her, it's a lot of girls giggling and stuff like that.
Because maybe she's sticking around to be like, somebody has to fucking supervise these girls.
Right. Or it's just a lot of residual
Maybe.
There.
But Florence and Pleasant.
Canon.
I'm going to harp on that name for a long time yet.
Hey, it's possible that Pleasant is non-canonical. And I'm it's non-canonical.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening.
Thanks. All the things. We should get t-shirts now that say Pleasant Cannons. We go to Patreon. That's like our first tier. It's going to be like, you're now part of the Pleasant Cannons.
I love it.
And only listeners will get it. They'll be like, the fuck does that mean?
A Pleasant Cannon.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Tell you when you're older. Oh my God.
Fuck a Pleasant Cannon. You guys are amazing.
Pleasant Cannon Horse Thief just sounds like how I won Scrabble.
Thank you guys so much for listeing. Go to ghoulintentitions.com to go to all the things and follow all the things and this stuff and all that jazz.
I can't even do it.
And remember, it's okay to sleep with the lights on. Okay, Michael.
What?
Sing it for the people.
Are you really gonna make me do this?
Sing it.
Happy birthday to you.
No, do it low.
Oh, low?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was easier. Why didn't I just go low?
I don't know. When they go high, we go low.
God. I can't do it. I'm on the spot. I'm not a singer, Jamie.
It's
you
right.
do it. You do it with me. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Happy birthday to you.
I liked it.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah,
That's good.
Something. Yeah, the old rugged cross.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Day made.
That's gonna come back to haunt me.